Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone on today? I wanted to share with you, it has gotten to the point where, we are seeing so much violence in the world with people and guns, and that has been a very big focal topic about gun violence. And so here's a story coming out of off coming from ABC News actually, but it's out of Texas, and it says that a boyfriend at a Texas hospital for baby's birth kills two. Now he was there to witness or to be there for the birth of his girlfriend's baby. He is a convicted felon, in and out of jail or prison, and has a record. And he went to the hospital. They let him out. And I'll just give you a summary before we get into the article. They let him out of uh, jail in order to, and put a monitor on his ankle in order for him to go witness the birth of his child. And I believe that, they're trying to be lenient in help and trying to help people still live or participate in things that are normal, because it's normal for a woman to give birth of a child. And so with that being said, uh he did the ultimate violence, you know and it was done in a hospital. The employees there didn't expect it, and they're still grappling with the question of how did he get a weapon, a gun, when he's a convicted felon. How did he get that? And so he threatened to kill the girlfriend and everybody that came in the room, and he shot two people. It was a nurse, 63-year-old nurse, and a 45-year-old social worker, is what he did. So he's 30 years of age, and he fatally shot them. He opened fire after accusing his girlfriend, who had just given birth, of infidelity. And so Jacqueline Pokua, a 45-year-old social worker, and Katie Annette Flowers, a 63-year-old nurse, were killed in Saturday's shooting at Methodist Dallas Medical Center, according to police and hospital officials. And this was last weekend. Authorities have said that Nestor Hernandez, he's, like I said, 30 years of age, opened fire around 11 a.m. while at the hospital for the birth of a child by his girlfriend. Now, Hernandez, who was on parole from prison, and had been granted permission to be at the hospital while wearing an ankle monitor, was shot and wounded by a police officer. But in my opinion, this is a failure of our criminal justice system, says Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia said at a news conference Monday. A violent individual such as this should not have been on ankle monitor and should have remained in custody. Hernandez has been charged with capital murder, but it wasn't clear Monday if he has an attorney who could speak on his behalf. He was not listed among people being held in the Dallas County Jail, and authorities said that after the shooting, he was treated at Methodist and then taken to another medical faculty for further treatment. Now, I don't reside in Texas. I don't know a lot about Texas medical, systems. There are hospital systems, but you may know uh, by residing there or just knowing that, or maybe used to live there, what Methodist is. It must be, you know, Methodist. Is it a county hospital? Because that's usually where they you know, take people to a county facility. And the way they said it, it sounds like everybody should know when they say just Methodist, you know. Um, and so I'm not sure if that's a county hospital, as I said, or very only the only hospital in that area or locality. I'm not sure. But anyway, he arrived at the hospital around 10:20 a.m. to visit the woman, in delivery, and began to strike her repeatedly in the head with a handgun. So this woman, uh, he arrived to the delivery. Now, I think she had already had the baby. I'm not exactly sure if he got in there while she was delivering the baby, because it said he arrived at the delivery. But I know somewhere in this article she had the baby, because it said that there was a newborn or something already, you know, in there. So he started striking her in the head. Some things you trying to wrap, you just can't wrap around it. It's unfathomable. You know what I'm saying? And so he repeatedly struck her in the head. Can you imagine giving birth, or after you give birth, you're in the delivery room and somebody just comes in and starts striking you in the head with a handgun? The violence that he brought up on that newborn baby and the mother. The violence that he brought up on that baby, I don't. Okay, so according to an arrest warrant affidavit obtained by WFAA-TV, Hernandez started hitting his girlfriend after accusing her of infidelity. Now, did she get pregnant while he was incarcerated? How long has he been incarcerated? She get pregnant while he was incarcerated? Did he not think it was his baby? Or did she get pregnant before he became incarcerated, before they locked him up? You know, because he's accusing her of infidelity. So did someone tell a man that's not your baby? Think about it. You was locked up. How's she getting pregnant? People get in their emotions, and everything. And so he came up there accusing her of infidelity at a hospital. If I would say this: if you felt that she was cheating on you, then why did you even bother to go to the hospital? Why? Did you think, is the baby in question who the father is? Just as some stuff here. And it says Hernandez Diaz started making anonymous calls now, and sending text messages to his family. Told his girlfriend that they were both going to die, and that whoever comes in this room is going to die with us, according to the Dallas TV station's account of the affidavit. He shot Pocool when she came into the room to attend to the woman. So the woman, the social worker, was coming into the room to do her rounds, to attend to the woman for what, ever her job description is as a social worker. And he shot her, and he also shot Flowers, who actually uh, looked in the room upon hearing gunfire. So she came to look in the room upon hearing gunfire, and he shot her as well. And so Hospital Police Sergeant Robert Rangel saw Flowers get shot. He saw it. So he called for backup and took cover outside the room where Hernandez was reloading his gun, the chief said. So the nurse probably peeked in the room, and that's how the police sergeant saw her getting shot, because she wasn't all the way physically in the room. She was peeking in to see what was going on. And so so when Hernandez emerged, because he had been reloading his gun, Rango shot him in the leg, and after a standoff, police took him into custody. So Garcia said the woman Hernandez struck was treated for her injuries, and that a newborn child who was in the room was not hurt. So that's why I was saying he arrived to the delivery. So I don't know how long that he had been in that room. Did he get to the delivery, as it said, and she had the baby? Then they had since moved them to a room, and then he accused her of infidelity. At that time, prior to the shooting, he had accused her of infidelity and was beating her in the head with the gun, because it's kind of like, did he get to the delivery while she was having the baby, or did she already have the baby and she was in the room, still in the delivery room, recovering? Because, after you have a baby, if you've had a baby, they put you in a delivery room where you recover, and they can kind of monitor you before they put you in a regular room. And so it sounds like to me he arrived there, and she was still in the delivery room. And so it's really sad that he killed two people and then unalived them, and then he turned around and you know that's just horrible, in front of this newborn. And she's treated for her injuries, and I'm sure that she's probably going to be going through some things, because getting hit in the head, I've never been beat with a handgun or anything, but I can imagine the pain and headaches that she may be experiencing right now and trying to nurse her newborn baby. That's very traumatic. That's very traumatic. Um, and so let's go on to what his what's going on with his background here. Hernandez was released from prison on parole last October. Last October. So we are getting ready to go into November. So he was been off for a year. So if he was released last October and he's accusing her of infidelity, then that means that that baby more than likely is his. That even though he's accusing her of infidelity, that baby probably is his. I know, we can say women do cheat and step out, but that baby probably is his. If he was released at last October, she just delivered the baby, and we already in the end of October. Let me just keep it real. I mean, we got to think about it. Don't take no year to have no baby. So, you know. So anyway, he was released from prison on parole last October after being convicted of aggravated robbery. According to the Texas Department of Criminal Justice spokeswoman Amanda Hernandez, who she has the same last name as him. I would not want to be carrying that name at this moment. I'll be like, I'm not related to him. I'm definitely not related to him. And so she said he was given permission to be with his significant other at the hospital during her delivery. Now, authorities haven't released any information on how Hernandez came to have a gun while on parole for a felony conviction. Methodist Medical System Police Chief Glenn Fowler, said Monday that the hospital wasn't given any notice, of his criminal history or that he was being tracked with an ankle monitor. That's where I say they should have gave the hospital notice so they could have monitored it. They could have escorted him in, had a guard outside the door, or something, because they wasn't given any information, is what it's saying here, allegedly, of his criminal history or that he was being tracked with an ankle monitor. And it seems to me that if you have a convict that's coming in like that, that's on parole with an ankle monitor and things like that, you have to protect people. And to me, by the criminal justice system not providing, that information, that could have made a difference in preserving the life of the two employees that he shot and the baby mother that he assaulted. Okay. And so that's not something we normally inquire about for a parent, Fowler said. This is an extremely horrific, out of the norm situation. I wish that we would have known, but that is not some information that was provided to us beforehand. And usually with a parent, they try not to make waves, when it comes down to certain, liberties. And so if they had a known, though, being a convicted felony, you may not have the liberties that other people have. And so therefore they should have been given or provided that information, in my opinion, but they were not. And so Garcia said Hernandez was sentenced to 8 years for aggravated robbery. 8 years. Okay. And he served 6 before he was released on parole last year in October. But they released him last October, okay? So he served 8 years for aggravated robbery, serving 6 before he was released on parole last year. Then, listen to this. See, this guy has a criminal history, and so I don't know if he really should have even been released. He probably should have still been behind bars. He probably should have been made to serve out his time, the full 8 years. And not only that, sometimes if you do crime, you're going to miss significant milestones, that happen. And so maybe that's what should have happened. And they were trying to be lenient because maybe they thought that would help him change something, change his behaviors, his thought process, his mindset, but or attitude, but that's yeah, but they should have probably just said no, but they didn't. They let him out being lenient. And guess what happened? He killed 2 people. And then he turned around and beat the baby's mother upside the newborn's mother upside the head with a handgun and threatened to kill everybody, including them, reaching out to his family to tell them first what he was going to do. And it says, so let me go on again. So in March of 2022, he was arrested for a parole violation and then in April released to his parole officer. So this parole violation and then released again. And then in June, Garcia said Hernandez was arrested by police in a Dallas suburb for another parole violation. Another one, taken to a county jail and then turned over to the custody of Texas prison. And you ready for this? which released him this September with the ankle monitor he was wearing during the shooting. Dallas County records show that Nestor Hernandez has been arrested repeatedly since 2011, including on charges of aggravated robbery, burglary, and the unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon. You know what? He should have stayed and remained behind bars. I mean, I know that people want to see their newborns, born. They want to be there with their significant others because, no matter who you are, you still are human and want to be able to participate in certain liberties or certain functions and activities. But in this case, no, don't get it twisted. He should have remained behind bars because he's been doing stuff, arrested repeatedly since 2011. And because he was a parolee on parole currently with an ankle monitor, I believe the hospital should have been provided that information. The head of security should have been provided information about his background so that they could have been, discreetly, on alert so that to make sure that this young woman was not put in danger, the newborn baby, as well as the hospital staff. And they failed to do that, the Department of Corrections there. And so now you have two unalived people that he shot in cold blood for no reason of their doing. And also, Texas, I believe, has the death penalty. Not a lot of states have the death penalty, but Texas does. And so with capital murder like that, they may be seeking the death penalty on this man because, this is just too much. And we keep on reading stories about guns and you hear, you have the people fighting against, uh, fighting for guns, and you have people fighting that are not for guns, that are against it. And you have people saying it's my constitutional right to own a firearm, and be a mature, responsible gun owner. But yet still we keep seeing most of the murders and shootings that's committed are by felons, by children that got a hold of a gun, and by irresponsible people with guns. And so I don't have any answers, as far as, you know, what it's going to take to change the outcome, to change this narrative, to change these um, statistics, you know, of all of these shootings and murders at the hands of firearms. And again, it's not just felons, convicted felons doing it. It's also children getting a hold of firearms, teenagers, young adults shooting up schools, like the situation in St. Louis, where this, the young man, you know, shot up the school, shot some people in the school, and then he was trying to shoot other people. But thank God, God did not allow the rest of them to be murdered at the hands of a shooter with a gun, and that they had taken the gun from him before, I believe, the parents. It's just a sad situation overall. And condolences, condolences to the families that have lost loved ones. The two recent, the ones in St. Louis, and that used to be another school. I believe it used to be Southwest High School, and it was predominantly white at one time, that school. And so, whether that makes a difference or not, but I just kind of know the history of that school, and so it's just really a sad situation here when we keep seeing and hearing about gun violence. And so I pray that each and every one of you are safe as you're out there doing your due, going to work, traveling to and fro, vacations, or going to work, going to school, going to church, going shopping, getting gas, going to the bank. It's just so many, in the park. enjoying your family and your children's ball games or high school football games. I mean, we heard recently where someone was shot and killed, at a game of their, I think, child or something like that, of children out there playing. So it is becoming to the point where it's almost not safe to go anywhere. And so we got to be praying. And so we need to pray for change, and try to let us put our heads together. What can we do? Because I certainly don't have no answers right now. But I mean, as far as that, but I have an answer to pray. I have an answer to do what's right. I have an answer to, continue to bring, the word of God when I do my videos. I mean, because it's a lot. And he could have killed that baby. He said everyone, and everyone probably meant that newborn. And thank God that it did not happen. And so as we continue to move forward, in life, be safe out there. Protect yourselves at every cost that you can. God bless you all on today. Uh, Thank you for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. With this, just because we need to be alert on what's going on. And please leave your respectful comments below with this situation, because it's just a sad situation.